will start in a restorative child's pose. So if you have some extra props today, it might be really useful to have a little something extra under your chest, or maybe a little something extra beneath your seat, kind of between your heels and your seat, maybe both. We will bring the knees out wide toward the edges of the mat and the big toes touching behind you. Grabbing your prop or bolster if you have them, and just slowly starting to kind of come down onto the props. If your knees don't quite feel ready for that kind of depth, highly suggest getting like a blanket or something to wedge right behind your knees, or between your seat and your heels, just so you have more support there. You can always come up to the forearms for a couple of breaths here first, and then just turn your head to one side or the other. We'll do a little bit on both sides. I'm gonna cover myself with a blanket. I feel like that could be really nice if you have one handy as well. With my bolster, I like to bring my hands underneath it for just a little extra height. So just go ahead and rest one of your ears on your props or the floor. Knees nice and wide, so there's plenty of space for the belly. Just begin to notice how your body and your mind are responding to this starting pose. Restorative child's pose. Notice the effort it takes to breathe from this position. In my experience, it feels like I need quite a bit more effort to take full breaths. And in a way, that kind of forces me to be more present with the breath. I wonder what your experience is. So just breathing as full as you can, comfortably. And in about 2 breaths, we'll switch which ear is down on your props. Just turning your head to the other direction and settling back in, unless there are more adjustments you'd like to try. We'll have about 5 more breaths on this side, and they'll be nice slow breaths. Just notice here if you'd like to set a dedication or intention for this practice today. Take about 1 more breath for good measure. And then lift your head a little bit, planting your hands on the floor. Just start to come on up to tabletop. If you want, you could lay right down on your stomach over top of your props and just see if that feels nice, straightening your legs and just kind of coming to your stomach here. Sometimes it feels good to have a little cushioning underneath the chest. Sometimes it feels like you're kind of spreading the back out a little. Just see about that. If you don't have props that you're using, or you'd rather come right down to the floor, that's okay too. We're kind of in like a crocodile-ish pose. I might bring a block underneath my forehead for a little more support. Just kind of straightening the legs out. Maybe you press the tops of your feet down and kind of lift the knees up a little bit. You could let your heels kind of rock side to side. After that deep bend of the child's pose, just kind of nice to spend a little time letting those legs go long. And then we'll do kind of a reverse windshield wiper here so we can bend both knees so your feet are hanging out in the air behind you. And just let your feet sway to one side and then up and sway to the other side. And notice if you can feel a little bit of a twist even up through the low back. Sometimes there's a nice kind of twist effect all the way up there. And you can get a little creative with it. Don't worry about doing it right. You can kind of straighten the legs and swoop them back and over to the other side. Or bend and straighten a couple of times. Just getting those knees back. Okay. Bringing your feet back down to the floor here. Let's take one more breath in. And one more breath out. Planting your hands, start to come back up to tabletop. We'll move those props to the side for now, unless you find a creative way to keep using them. Let's do cat and cow here. So fingertips spread out nice and wide. You might even just take a moment to feel that stretch through the palms, the activation through the hands. Can feel like a nice stretch if you've been writing a lot or having your hands in a certain position too much. With your inhale, let's start to lower the belly, lift your gaze and your tailbone, finding your cow pose. And exhale, round on up, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, pull that navel in, almost like you're pushing the air out as you exhale. Inhale, cow, gaze lifts. Exhale, cat, rounding on up. Go ahead and continue at your own pace here. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling to cat. And you might stick with cat and cow here, or at some point soon, you might kind of add in some chest or torso circles, just kind of moving the belly down, around, and up, and around, and down. Kind of like you're hula hooping on this, vertical or horizontal plane. And switching sides whenever you want. Okay. All right. Let's find our way to our first downward facing dog. If you need a little break off of your wrists for a second, you could come sit back or stand up on your knees and just give the wrists a little shake or a circle. And then we'll start moving towards our downward dog, grabbing your blocks if you have them and bringing them up to the top. We'll bring those hands right on top of the blocks. Curl your toes under, start to lift up the knees, reach the tailbone high, press into your hands, reach through your shoulders, try to stay really active. And if you like, maybe starting to pedal out your legs, bending and straightening opposite knees. Really committed to your breath. It's so easy to hold it or breathe shallowly. Is that a word? Shallowly? Let's just try to keep our breath full. For these last couple of breaths, imagine that you can create just a little more space from the tips of your fingers to your tailbone, lengthening through your spine. Then with an inhale, let's bend the knees and look up toward your hands. With your exhale, step or walk your feet up for our ragdoll forward fold. Option to take those feet nice and wide and do kind of a wide-legged forward fold instead. Gives the body, the belly, a little more space. So up to you, legs out wide, or the more traditional ragdoll with your feet about hip width distance apart. Either way, see if you can create some loosening through the upper body, maybe swaying here a little bit, or bending and straightening opposite knees a couple of times as an experiment. One more experiment that I really like in this pose is bending the knees extra deep and then straightening a bit. You might nod your head yes and no a couple of times. And then when you're ready, bending your knees, tuck your chin toward your chest and use your hands, walking them up your legs as you slowly come up to stand. It always feels like just so fresh coming up for the first time. Let's get a good shake going through your body. So just wherever the wiggles and the shakes want to start, maybe it's the arms today. Maybe it's lifting and lowering your heels and getting a good bounce going through your body, like you're almost like you're jumping on a trampoline. Let things be kind of loose and floppy, wiggly as you continue to give everything a nice little shake. Great for circulation, great for just moving some energy here. And then up at the, well, you can be wherever you want on your mat for now. We're going to come up to our tippy toes a couple of times. So let's spin the palms to face the front of your space, feeling just a little more opening through your chest. With an inhale, let's rise up to the tippy toes, lifting those heels, coming on up. And then with your exhale, lower back down. If you're close to a wall and you need a little extra support, you can head to the wall. Inhale as you rise, and then exhale as you lower. And see about spending your entire inhale lifting. So we're going nice and slow. That inhale, we're rising, we're rising, we're rising. And with your exhale, we're lowering that whole exhale, if you can. You might start feeling your calves burning a little bit here. So it's really good for our stabilizing muscles in the lower body, which can help avoid falls and slips if we keep those nice and strong. Okay. One more time with the option to add on the arms. So with your inhale, maybe those arms start to lift up. And then exhale as you lower everything back down. Let's do one more if you'd like. Inhale, rising up. And exhale, lowering down. Give those legs a little shake if they want some more circulation before moving on. Let's find a little willow tree twist here so our feet come a little bit wider than normal. And start to get a little twist going side to side, letting your arms be kind of loose and heavy, just like a willow tree's branches blowing in the wind. It's a windy day. And just kind of letting your hands knock gently into your body at either side. And if you tend to get dizzy easily, you might just keep your gaze straight ahead. If you want to get a little more experimental with it, you could, and you don't tend to get dizzy easily, you might look in the direction of your twist and lift your opposite heel. So when you're twisting to the right, maybe that left heel pops up, almost like you're doing a little dance here, side to side. Our main focus is just twisting the spine. Okay, we'll slow it back down here soon. Coming back to the center. All right, we'll toe heel the feet in just a bit more. And come on up to the top of your mat if you're not there already. Let's take an inhale and lift those arms up and overhead. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands come to the knees, shins, or thighs. And exhale, slide those hands back down your legs, plant them on the floor or blocks. Keep breathing here. We'll step just the right foot back and lower your right knee down to the mat. Right toes can stay tucked under or flatten the top of your right foot to the mat, your call. If it starts to feel wobbly here, you can toe heel your left foot out a little wider. When you're ready, let's start to rise up. We might lift both hands high overhead here. Notice your the tilt of your pelvis here. Sometimes we kind of have like a backwards tilt. Let's tuck the tailbone under, kind of bringing the abdominals in a little bit. You might start feeling that right thigh, the right hip flexor, feeling a little more engaged or even stretching. Breathe here, just holding nice and tight through the kind of core and pelvis. One more breath in, and one more breath out. All right, let's bring those hands down. We'll bring the left hand to the left hip crease, and then start to take a side bend toward the left. So that right hand will come back up and over. See if you can kind of press into that right hip a little bit. Stretching through that right side as you reach to the left. One more breath in. One more breath out. Go ahead and bring those hands down to the blocks or the floor. Curl your right toes under. Toe heel your left foot out, way out wide. Pick up that right knee and then do your best to step your left foot back to your high plank. Just one breath in. And then breath out, knees lower, blocks move to the side, and lower your chest all the way down. Keep breathing here as you untuck your toes, pressing the tops of your feet down so much that your knees start popping up a little bit. Inhale as you rise to your baby cobra with special focus to bringing your shoulder blades together behind you. And then exhale, lower down. Spending that entire inhale lifting, pulling the shoulder blades back. And exhale, lower. One more time, we'll stay lifted. So inhale, rise. Option to lift your hands up off the floor for a little extra challenge. Exhale here, keep holding. One more breath in. And exhale, lower down. Take a breath, resting. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, come on up, tabletop. And exhale to child's pose. Your knees could stay a little closer or they could go out wide. Take a few breaths, noticing or creating a sense of expansion through your mid-back. One more breath in. One more breath out. With your inhale, come on up to tabletop, curl your toes under, and then find your way to downward dog. 3 breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath in. And breath out. Inhale, bend your knees, look up toward your hands, but with your exhale, walk your hands to the back of your mat so you end up in a forward fold at the back. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Plant those feet. Inhale, rise all the way up, reaching the arms around and joining palms overhead. option to look up at your hands as they join. And exhale, hands come down to your heart center. Take a couple of moments here, maybe closing your eyes if you like. Just focusing inward and noticing if anything arises for you in the moment. And let's take one round of bumblebee breath. So that's an inhale through the nose and then a hum for your entire exhale. So just choose a note, any old note. Just inhale through the nose, hum as you release. And a clearing breath in through your nose. Take your time. Sigh through your mouth. Go ahead and blink your eyes open as you're ready. Let your hands come down by your sides. We're going to do kind of a different balancing pose today. It's going to be another foot and stabilizer muscle strengthener. So basically, we're just going to come on up to your toes. You choose how high you go. Your heels maybe just lifting a centimeter or two, or maybe you go to max height here. Just do what you can to spend like a second as you take a step forward. See how much hang time you can have before setting your foot down. So we're just going to walk to the top of our mat with our tippy toes. You can take a couple of small steps or maybe a couple of big steps. Just see if you can kind of take slow steps so you get a little bit of hang time. So you're spending some time on just one foot if you can. And then you're eventually, hopefully, getting up to the top and then lowering back down. Take your time as you get there. Maybe giving your feet a little shake. And then getting back into place. We'll go through our little flow one more time on the other side. So inhale, reach both arms high. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come down to the blocks or the floor. This time we're stepping just the left foot back and lowering the left knee down. Breathe as normal. You could toe heel your right foot out a little wider for more of a supportive base here. And then see about coming on up, reaching your hands overhead, and then paying attention to the tilt of the pelvis again, tucking the tailbone under so you start to feel kind of that opening or stretching through that left thigh, maybe through the left hip flexor as well. Just gonna hold tight here, pulling in the abdominals, just a solid core right now. Breathing. And then lowering that right hand down to the right hip crease or somewhere around there. Start to take a little side bend. So reaching that left arm over toward the right. Just going as far as you'd like here. I kind of like to lean back slightly in this one, but you do you. One more breath in. And then breath out. Bring those hands back down to the blocks or the floor. Curl your left toes under and pick up that left knee. Toe heel your right foot way out wide toward the right side, and then do what you can to step your right foot back to your high plank. One big breath in here. Keep pressing your hands into the floor. And exhale, lower your knees. Move those blocks to the side and lower your chest. We'll have the option to do 3 rounds of our baby cobra per usual, like we did on the first side, or you can choose to hold a baby cobra for 3 breaths, staying lifted the whole time. So choose your own adventure here. With your inhale, we're rising up. And either exhaling to lower or just staying here for all of our breaths. We're exhaling. Inhale. And exhale. Last breath in here, lifting up. You can stay lifted if you'd like here for your exhale. Last breath in, option to hover the hands up off of the floor. And exhale, lower down, crocodile pose. Fists or hands stack beneath the forehead. Rest your forehead on your hands or a block. Let your heels splay out to the sides here. Maybe rocking the pelvis a little side to side to loosen up the low back. Soften your jaw. See just how quickly you can come to a soft state. And while we're here, we're gonna sync a little bit of a movement, a flowing movement here. So with your inhale, just start to bend your right knee so your right foot comes up behind you. You could point your toes if you like. And with your exhale, we're gonna switch. So the right foot comes down, the left foot comes up. With your inhale, switching, right foot comes up, left foot comes back down to the floor. I think you get the idea here. With your exhale, we're switching, just pulling that heel in toward your left glute. And then lower your feet back down. One more breath in crocodile. And then plant your hands next to your chest. Start to push on up towards tabletop. And then back to your child's pose. And option to kind of reach the fingertips or crawl them forwards a little bit more for more of a sense of stretching through the sides, through the back. One more breath. With an inhale, come on up tabletop, grab those blocks if you'd like, and then find an exhale, bringing you to downward dog. This will be our last downward dog of this class today. We're inhaling and exhaling. Inhale. Exhale. One last breath in and breath out. Inhale, bend your knees a lot, look up to your hands, but with your exhale, walk those hands back to the back of your mat so you end up in a forward fold at the back. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold once more. We're going to reverse swan dive this time. So with an inhale, reach those arms out wide, hinge upward through the hips, and then spin those palms up toward the sky and join them overhead. Exhale, hands come down to heart center again, possibly closing down the eyes here and just spending a couple moments cultivating a sense of centeredness, and seeing what gifts perhaps arise there for you. Let's take one round of bumblebee breath followed by one clearing breath. So we'll inhale through the nose and hum for your entire exhale. whenever you naturally end there, take another breath in through the nose and sigh out of your mouth. When you're ready, blinking your eyes open if they were closed, letting your hands come back down. We're going to do that same kind of balancing tippy toe thing here. If you have a very clear space and you feel very confident in your abilities, you might try this backwards this time. But really, if you have any blocks in the way, just move them out of the way. We don't need to be tripping on anything, and be very aware of your surroundings if you choose to do it backwards. If you're doing that, go ahead and flip around, come on up to the tippy toes, and just see if you can take some steps backwards. Ooh, it's quite a challenge, but just do your best here. All those little wobbles and catches as you take these steps are helping to strengthen those stabilizers. So even if it feels like you're doing an iffy job, you're still doing a good job. So long as you don't get hurt. All right, when you get to the top, eventually lower those feet down. Give it a little shake if you want. And we're coming down to the floor. We're going to do a little deluxe shavasana at the end. So if you have props that are too far away, just gather them, get them a little closer as you make your way down to your back. We're going to pull the knees in on our way, or as you arrive. Just pull your knees in toward your chest, but let your shoulders and your head rest on the floor. Start to find a little bit of free movement here. Maybe a little rocking side to side. Maybe some circling of your knees. Maybe you let your arms go straight so your legs are a little farther away from your torso. Just getting some nice slow massaging pressure going through the low back, the sacrum, kind of the rim of the pelvis. All right, so we'll take a little twist here to end. We'll do a little active twist. So we'll keep our knees lifted. Bring those arms out for support, maybe to a T shape or maybe down lower to a V shape, your call. We're going to inhale at the center each time. With your exhale, just start to twist your knees over toward the right. We're not staying there, so just keep them somewhat lifted still. With your inhale, bring your knees back up to center. Lots of abdominal control here. Exhale, twist those knees toward the left. And keep going. We're inhaling to the center each time. And then exhaling as we twist to the opposite direction. If you want to get fancy with it, when your knees are down toward the right, you might turn your gaze toward the left. So you're looking opposite way that your knees are going. Just do about one more on each side. Since we started on the right, just make sure you end on the left. Taking your time. And then setting your feet back down on the ground. And then if there are any last movements, poses, or stretches that your body is asking you for, go ahead, answer those calls. Ooh, it feels so good to reach my hands overhead and kind of do a deep windshield wiper motion here. But maybe it's a happy baby for you. Maybe it's a long body stretch. Just see if there's anything you're needing or wanting. Then when you're ready, get extra cozy in your final resting pose. I might suggest getting a little something underneath your knees. Maybe a blanket up over top of you or a pillow under your head. It's a pretty common experience to get a little chilly during a longer meditation. So if you're feeling even a slight chill right now, I would definitely recommend grabbing blanket to pull up over you. And continue experimenting and adjusting until you feel so tended to, so cozy, much as you can be here. Check in with your feet. Make sure you're not holding them up. Just let them kind of flop to the sides, or maybe even wrapping blanket around them so they're supported. And if there's any more pent up energy or anything that you want to release, just giving it a sigh or two to help you settle in. And I will begin naming parts of your body in a very specific way. It's okay if you kind of weave in and out of consciously listening, but the point here will not be to sleep, it will be to remain awake and aware with your mind when you let your body experience kind of a sleepy state. So don't worry if you catch yourself drifting, just see if you can refocus back on my voice. So beginning with the right shoulder, bring your awareness there. Right upper arm, elbow, lower arm, right wrist, palm of your hand, back of your hand, each and every fingertip on the right hand. Entire right arm, right armpit, right side, right hip, upper leg, right knee, lower leg, right ankle, top of your foot, bottom of your foot, each and every toe on your right foot. Entire right leg together. Right hip, navel center, heart center, throat center, left shoulder, left upper arm, left elbow, lower arm, left wrist, palm of your hand, back of your hand, each and every fingertip of your left hand, entire left arm, left armpit, left side, left hip, upper leg, left knee, lower leg, left ankle, top of your foot, bottom of your foot, each and every toe on your left foot. entire left leg together. Left hip point, navel center, heart center, throat center, back of your neck, scalp, right ear, left ear, right cheek, left cheek, right nostril, left nostril, right eye, left eye, third eye center, bottom lip, top lip, sensation of teeth, tongue, your entire face and head at once. Become aware of the back side of your body, especially the points of contact between you and the floor or props. Letting this be a reminder that you are supported, not too much to support. Become aware of the inside of your body. The top side of your body. See if you can become aware of the air and space just outside of your physical body. Experiment with erasing the boundaries of your body and just see if you can create a sense of merging with everything around you. And calling your energy and awareness back inside of your skin, the boundaries, the edges of the physical body, clearly defined again. Calling back any energy that's lingering out there or possibly held by someone else or situation or your job or your to-do list. See if you can call back all of your energy back to your center over the course of the next few breaths. You might visualize kind of like chords or something kind of coming back to you, or it might just be a felt sense. feel that you've called your energy back, all of it or enough of it for now. Just rest for the next 5 to 10 breaths. And you are welcome to stay here and continue your rest. Or if you're ready to move along, we'll start by wiggling fingers and toes ever so gently. Maybe slowly turning your head from one side to the other. Maybe opening and closing your jaw, swallowing or yawning. Continue moving in slightly more involved ways. Maybe your wrists and ankles twisting, turning. Maybe reaching up for a long body stretch as you yawn. And then eventually turning on to either side, finding the fetal position with your knees slightly tucked in. And maybe your bottom arm is acting as a pillow. Just fully let yourself rest here on your side for a really savory breath in and out. And when you eventually get to the bottom of that exhale, use the help of your hands and arms to press your way up to a comfortable seat. Maybe keeping your eyes closed if you like, as you join your palms in front of your heart center. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and be free. And may our own thoughts, words, and actions somehow contribute to that happiness and freedom for all beings. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Together, bringing thumbs up to third eye center, just between and above the eyebrows. If it feels right to you, let's take a little bow forward together now. Peace.